Hey, Mama. Good evening, everyone. Let me turn down this volume. Got a lot of feedback coming through. Let's see if I can make this go away. There, I fixed it. Well, good evening, everyone. This is Mother Theresa. It is 7:02. I'm a minute late. And it is time for grandstanding, everybody. I hope everyone has had a great week so far. And on tonight, I would just like to welcome everyone for another episode of Grandstanding with Mother Theresa. And I just want to say that this is my platform just to come on and just to share some good news, just to kind of talk a little bit and just kind of see what's on your mind, see what's happening in my world and also in just our world. And so I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that's joined in. And as I'm trying to make sure that I get everything just right, excuse me as I am making some adjustments. Yes, thank you, Mama. I hope you have a good evening too. And I know that you will. And just wanted to talk a little bit. I'm not probably going to be on here for long on tonight, but we will see. Hey, Candace, we will see how long we're going to be on here for tonight. And yes, I am in my comfortable mama robe. I normally will put this on sometimes in the afternoon because it's cold in my house. And we try not to turn on the heater and then turn on the air conditioner. So guess what? I just put on my mama robe and it's comfortable and it keeps me warm. And so I have that on tonight. Yes, it's a bit worn, but it's comfortable. You all know how sometimes you get those clothes and you wear them for so long and they get so very comfortable and you don't even want to throw those clothes away. Just as you're breaking them in, it seems like it's about time to get rid of them and get something new. But then sometimes you can have different items of clothing that you can just wear for a long, long time. And that's you're just getting them broken in. So let's see what's happening on today and happening on tonight. Candace, I didn't get a chance to call you to check to see how Avery is doing, but I know that I'm hoping and praying that she is okay. And which brings me up to something. When we talk about, how is everybody doing and how are people doing? Sometimes when people ask you, how are you doing? We typically give them that old cliche, oh, I'm doing fine, or I'm doing okay. And a lot of times we're not doing okay. We're not fine. But because we think that people don't really want to know how you're really feeling, we give them that old standard cliche. And I think I spoke about this earlier. Sometimes when you are needing to talk to somebody, let them know I'm not doing okay and I need somebody to talk to. Sometimes that person that you're talking to may be that person that can, maybe the listening ear that you're needing. Hey, Sister Andrea, maybe that listening ear that you're needing. But if they cannot, then maybe they can steer you in a direction that you can find someone that can be that listening ear. And and I talk a lot of times and I say that, my profession is I am a mental health professional, a licensed social worker. So my job is to listen to people and listen to their concerns and different things like that. And of course, sometimes that can definitely weigh heavy on you after you listen to people's problems all day long or children's concerns all day long. Sometimes you are the person who needs to find a listening ear, and sometimes those people are few and far between. Hey, Shekinah, those people are few and far between. So if you can find a great listening ear, make sure that you are bringing them bring them into your life so they can be a blessing to you and you can be a blessing to them, because we are not on this earth by ourselves, and sometimes we just need somebody to listen to us. And I think this is why this is so therapeutic to me, because I can come on here and I can just talk, and I can just kind of ramble, and I can talk about lots of different things. And this is this helps me. It may not be helping you, but I surely hope that it is. But it helps me to be able to just kind of come in and to just talk about different things. And speaking of that, when I was younger, this is a story that my mom has told me quite often, is that I would talk to everybody. I would talk to the guy who would come to the house, and the insurance salesman, and she would get on to me about talking so much or talking to people or whatever. And he told her, leave her alone, leave her alone. You just never know what she may become. And then also another thing that I just was sharing with somebody, or not sharing with somebody, but somebody posted something on Facebook, and they said, how many of you all were the ones who had on your report card, they talk too much? That was me. And probably my girls, and probably my son. My kids are very social, and as am I. I often say I may not be the person who may start a conversation, but if you get me to talking, then I'm going to talk. Sister Andra raised her hand, both hands, So guess what? Us talkers, the people that we are, or how we were made up, God gave us that voice. God gave us that. So he knew in his divine wisdom that we needed to be talkers. We needed to be those people that can start a conversation with anybody, and to be able to hold a conversation and not be fearful of talking to people. And that's one of the things that I will often say, is that I'm going to speak to people, I'm going to talk to people, because guess what? As an encourager, or as a person who enjoys conversating, that's what we do. We talk. And not only do we talk, but most of the time, if you really let us talk, and if you engage in a conversation with us, we have lots to say. Like Sister Andrea, my friend, we have a lot to say, a lot of good information that if you listen to us, we can probably help you out in a couple of situations. So who else was one of those kids that had on your report card that they talk too much? Now, I don't see Candace raising her hand. Candace tries to say that she's an introvert, that she is one that likes to, and I can say, well, yeah, she is a little bit, but Candace can talk too. Candace is a talker, yes. Candace is a talker, and I guess she says when she's with her friends, or when you're with her people, I guess we all will talk, and we will all share different things. But some of us really like to talk, and I guess I'm one of those that can really talk, and it has served me well. So a little bit more about what I was about to say is that with us talkers and with kids that talk a lot, most of the time when we are as parents, I often say that I see somebody else. I can't see who that is, but whoever that is that maybe just popped on. I don't know if that's Ebony or Sent or whoever it is. But thank you all so much for joining us. But I often say, as parents, we should know our children so well that when they walk through the door, that when something is wrong with them. And years ago, I used to teach a parenting class. And that was one of the things that I would share with the parents, is that, first of all, you got to have relationships with your children. You've got to make sure that you have and I would hope that it would be a good relationship with your kids, a relationship that is that where you can have conversations with them, where you can have dialogue. And it's not just a one-way dialogue, but it's, where both of you all can have, valuable input. But I would say that we should know our children so well that when they walk in, or when we see them, that we know when something is wrong with them. And for those kids that are highly energetic, or they are talkers that just talk all the time. When those kids get quiet, okay, when they're not talking as much, when they're not playing, when they're not, doing their normal thing, and it could be just the opposite. You may have a really, really quiet child that all of a sudden they just start talking. Hey, Eb, I thought that was you. When they, if they start talking a whole lot, and they're typically your child that is really quiet, don't have a lot to say, but then all of a sudden, hey, OD, I'm glad you're here. All of a sudden they start talking and talking and talking, and they are just being totally out of their character. Then you know something is wrong. Parents, start talking to your kids. Give them a little bit of time to know. Hey, okay, my sister Sin is here. Find out what's going on with those kids, because it's something wrong. And I won't say it may be not something that just, hopefully it's not something majorly wrong, but it could be just something that they're going through at school. It could be that, they're stressed out a little bit, and but something is off. And so as a parent, you should know when something is off with your children. And then it's up to you as a parent to find out why it is that something is off. Sometimes children have things that are coming to, that are going on with them. It could be in school. Again, it could be, in the family. It could be in the community. It could be, with their friends. That sometimes they don't necessarily want to talk about. Sometimes kids think, well, I'm going to try to solve this on my own, or I'm going to try to figure this out on my own. And it's nothing wrong with that. Matter of fact, our kids should be great problem solvers. Problem solving is something that they start developing at a very young age, and it's necessary for them to be able to function in this world. You've got to be able to solve problems, and you've got to be able to solve them on your own. You're not going to always have, your parents with you, or a trusted adult or an older sibling that can figure out the world for you. You're going to have to learn how to navigate and figure out some things for yourself. But when something is wrong with your kids, investigate, talk to them, and find out what's going on. Now, I can say I made a lot of mistakes with my children growing up. With my girls, I made a lot of mistakes, and I'll be the very first to admit it. But I also did a lot of good things. But some of those mistakes that I made is that I may not have, and being a social worker, let me just tell you, sometimes they say the beautician's head looks the worst, the preacher's kids are the worst, or sometimes the social worker's kids are the kids that may be going through things, and as a social worker, we may miss those things. We may miss some of the things that is just right up under our nose. And so again, like I said, I know I've missed some things, and I've missed some telltale signs that I should have investigated a little bit closer. And so, and as the older that I've gotten, and the more, I guess, mature that I have become, then I'm recognizing, even, with my son Will, that there are things that when he walks in, that something is wrong, and I need to have a conversation with him, and I may need to back up a little bit and not be so pushy, because I can be pushy when it comes to my kids. And I want to know, if I ask you what's going on, I want to know. I really want to know. And most of the time it's because I think I try to fix things. I try to fix things for them. And of course, Candace and Net, they are well in they're grown adults. And so, Will be 20 years, my son will be 20 years old on Easter Sunday. My husband will be 60 years old on tomorrow. So you all help me wish them a happy early birthday. But sometimes, even with your children, with your grown children, sometimes we have to learn that, not sometimes, but we have to learn how to parent our adult children differently than when they were our little children. And so, and I've had to learn how to kind of take a step back. And I ain't gonna say I take all the way, a full step back, but I can, and I'll have to fix that up. You all know what I'm trying to say. I still have my input, but I allow my children to parent their children. I don't try to step in and tell them what to do or how to do. Do I have suggestions? Absolutely, because that's what grandparents do. We have suggestions, and it's up to them to take it or not. But sometimes the suggestions, I have to be careful because I don't want to overstep my bounds, my boundaries as a grandmother, and as allowing them to parent their children. Because guess what? Even though I feel like my children may parent the way that I parent, I feel like they may parent their children the way that I parented them. Not necessarily. There are certain things that they do totally different. For example, Ned sent me a question or something the other day and said, Mama, why couldn't we open more than one box of cereal at a time? And I had to laugh of that, because that was kind of the rule in my house. If we're gonna open up the Frosted Flakes, we're gonna eat all the Frosted Flakes before we open up the Cheerios or whatever. And so, was it a good idea? Did it really make any sense? No, not really. Because guess what? When they were all gone, they were all gone. But again, it's about learning how to be a parent. And one of the things that I often would share with my students, or with the people that were in my parenting class, Candace, I can't see what kind of face that is, but I can tell it's a face. I often will tell them, and I'm telling you all, that as a parent, there was no manual that came or that they gave us when they were dismissing us from the hospital with our bundle of joy. They did not say, here is Conversations from the Mother's Heart that has all the guidelines for a mother on how to take care of their children. They didn't give us anything like that. They just kind of, made sure that you all were safe, and they sent us on about our merry way and hope for the best. And that's basically what we did is as parents. And I thank God that I had a great mom as an example and a role model to help teach me how to be a good parent. And again, like I said, I definitely made some mistakes, but it's not because I wasn't trying. It's just that maybe I didn't know. And so not having that roadmap and not having that journal or not having that guidebook, it left it up for interpretation. Kind of similar like how some people do the Bible. They leave it's left up for your own interpretation. And so as I was interpreting how to be a parent, again, some of the mistakes and some of the good things that I made, I applauded the victories, but I went back and I tried to study the mistakes that I made. Hey, Jennifer, so good to see you. And so as a parent, and especially, like I said, as a young parent, trying to figure those things out, I was sharing with my daughter, and I'm not sure which one it was, but I was sharing with them a lot of the time that as they were growing up, I was in school. Hey, Sister Pam, my good friend, I was in school a lot of the time when they were growing up. And so my husband was there taking care of them. So I missed a lot of things. I missed some important things as they were growing up. But as a parent, my goal was to, if I could better myself, if I could get an education, then I can be better prepared financially to take care of my kids. And so, and even with, again, like I said, being a young mother, being a very young mother, because I had knit when I was in high school. Some of you all knew that and some of you all did not. But I had knit when I was in high school. So trying to learn how to be a parent, you all, and doing parenting is hard. But it's a job that, yes, thank you so very much, Jennifer. Parenting is a job that you will definitely learn a lot of things, not only about your children, but you're going to learn a lot of things about yourself. And when I say you're going to learn a lot of things about yourself, you're going to learn that just because it is a value or it's important to you, it may not necessarily be a value that is for your children. And of course, we try to teach our kids, to be, good, decent, upright people and citizens in this society. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about some of the decisions that they make as an adult that they may do that I wouldn't necessarily do. But as a parent that has now parenting adults, I have to give that authority to them and allow them to become or to be the adults that I have trained them to be. And it's training. People don't sometimes that are training or rearing, people don't like necessarily have to want to hear that. But guess what, you all? When we have our children, it is our responsibility to get them prepared for this world. It is our responsibility to make sure, hello, Reverend Powers, it is our responsibility to make sure that they are prepared when they leave our nest. When they leave our homes, we want to make sure that we have taught them everything for them to be successful. And hopefully it is good and positive things that we have put into them. Because guess what? You cannot put, be raggedy parents or parents that are, not supportive and different things like that, or horrible parents, and expect your children to go out and be these stellar people in the community. And so we've got to make sure that we are training them in the right way. Life on earth is a blessing and a huge lesson. You're absolutely right. And I think we learn every single day that we wake up and we are able to open our eyes. There should be something that you're learning. First of all, you should be commanding in the morning and asking God to order your steps. But there should be things that you are learning every single day. And I would say learning how to be a good person, but also learning how to be a great parent. It takes work. It doesn't just happen overnight. And I'm so very grateful when I think about, like I said, my children and how they take care of each other and how they love each other. That was a conversation that my husband and I were having during spring break. And we were just talking about how my girls, how they help one another and how they love one another. And I shared with him, I said, sometimes they care so much for one another to a fault. And when I say that, I mean, what I mean is that sometimes when we talk about sacrificing for others, they do that. They will sacrifice their time, their finances, their energy, their sleep. They will sacrifice those things for each other. And as a parent, that makes me feel so very good, because they've learned the lesson that their dad and I was trying to teach them, is that family is above everything else, you all. That when you can't depend on anyone else, you should be able to depend on your family. And so as we were coming back from Nacogdoches and we were exiting in Cleveland, and they were continuing on 59 going into the Houston, we just kind of take a little shortcut. And as we were exiting, we were able to see our girls, and we were looking at them as they were up on the bridge and we were down up under the underpass. And so, oh my gosh, I was not supposed to get emotional about this. But as we were watching our girls, and as they were up there on that bridge, and Boris and I was just saying, bye girls, we'll see y'all when y'all make it to Baytown. But that is how life goes, you all, is that Boris and I were talking, and we were saying, we're not always going to be with those girls. We're not always going to be here. As we take a detour, and as we go in one direction, what we have put in them, we're hoping that they're going to stay together, first of all. And not only will they stay together, but they're going to go in the direction that they have been taught, which is, we feel like, the direction that God has destined for them in their lives. And so parents, as we are taking a step back, and we're allowing our kids to be adults, I would say make sure that you've put in everything in your kids so they can be successful, so they can be good husbands, they can be good wives, they can be good aunties, they can be good uncles, they can be good people, that they can go out into this world and not make you ashamed, that they will represent you well, that they will represent your family name, your legacy well. And so when you do that, when you pour in, hey, Cousin Ashley, when you pour into your kids, step back, you all, especially if they're adults. Step back and let them do their own thing. Will they make some mistakes? Absolutely. Just like I said, I made some mistakes. But guess what? I had to learn from my mistakes. I had to learn how to do things in a different way. I don't know why this is whatever. But anyway, I guess when I talk about my kids and I talk about how certain things, I'm not sad. It's not a sadness, but it's just something that it's just reality. When you get 60 years old, listen, you all, you start facing reality, okay? And again, like I said, and I say this, I'm finding myself saying this more and more, I'm not going to be here forever. And I want my kids to do well. I want my grandkids to do well. And as parents, and I know I have a lot of parents on here, that is the hope. That is the hope that we have for our children, is that our children will be able to continue and move forward and not get stuck in a rut where they cannot move forward, where they don't know day from night or light from the darkness, that they have everything in them, that, and as an adult, that they can make these decisions, and not only make these decisions, Candace, don't get off, they can make these decisions, and they are good with their decisions. They are good with the decisions that they make. And as a parent, I don't want to be that one. Hey, Ashley, I don't want to be that one that is second guessing them, but allow them to move and to do the things that they need to do. Because guess what, you all? Parenting is hard, but it's the most rewarding thing that I have ever done in my life, is to be a parent and to be a grandparent. And so, and again, I have to say, I thank God for my mom, because I tell you, I had the perfect example. And I look at my grandmothers and especially my maternal grandmother, Big Mama Odell. I can't fault her for anything growing up. I never, and I'm not saying everybody is perfect. They were perfect. Not even my mom. My mom is as great as she is. She's not perfect. And she will tell you she probably made some mistakes and different things like that, or things that she wished that maybe she could have done differently. That's for everybody. But it is what it is. So we have to move forward. But as great as a person that I think that my mom and my grandmothers were, both of my grandmothers, and they were good role models. And so I tried to model them. But even with that, you all, we have to leave some room for error. But when you leave that little room for error, we also leave room for people to say, okay, if you make a mistake, learn from those mistakes. Now let's recover. Let's move on. And so I don't even know how I got off on this, you all. You all know I can just ramble and I can go on and on and on and whatever. But allow our kids to be kids. And I know, Ebony, you have young children that you are raising up to be, successful young men. Allow them to be kids, first of all. Allow them to be kids. Thank you, Shekinah. Yes, I do have on my robe, but thank you, Shekinah. Allow your kids to be kids, because guess what? Adulting is no joke. And so what we want to do, and Ebony, you are doing a great job. You and Candace, I think, are the ones that have probably the younger kids. Ashley, I'm not sure if your kids are younger. And then also Jennifer. Jennifer, I think your boys are probably adults by now. You may have a younger child, son. I think you have all boys. But those of you all that have younger children that are still in school, allow them to be kids, and not only allow them to be kids, but support them. Do what you can do to support your kids. Stand behind them, whatever choices that they're making. Okay, your oldest is 19 and baby is 14. Okay, so Stand behind those kids, support them. No one should support your kids in the community more than you. And whatever they're doing, whatever sports or events or extracurricular activities that they are involved in, you all get up and go and support your kids. My son, like I said, he'll be 20 years old on Easter Sunday, this coming Sunday, and he is a basketball coach. And some Saturdays, Boris and I will still get up and we will go and we will support him. We'll sit in the stands and watch him as he's coaching those kids. And a lot of times people will ask us as we're there, well, which one is your son? Which one is your son? And they're looking for the kids out on the court. And my husband gets a kick out of saying, our son is the coach. And, people just kind of look and they just kind of laugh. But even as an adult, like I said, you support your kids. If those that are still in school, whatever they're doing, be there. And don't be that parent that only shows up at the school when it's something negative that is happening. Be that parent that shows up at the school when everything is fine. And just because you want to be there to support them. Let the teaching staff or the school staff, let them know that you are an involved parent, that you are a parent that wants best, what's best for not only your child, but for the other children. I know we have some educators that work in the school system, as do I. And so we love to have those parents that show up and say, I'm just here because I want to offer some support. And so do that for your children. They will thank you for it later. And I know that they will. Not only that, but if you have grandchildren, make sure you try to go and support your grandchildren. One of the nicest things that I can say that happened within the last day, actually, it was probably, today is Tuesday, it was Saturday. TJ, our grandson, our college student, he wanted to come over and spend some time with me and Boris. And, but I was going out, so I told TJ, I said, I'll just come out and I'll come and visit you. And it was just TJ and I, and he was able to tell me about his spring break, his mission work, and all of that, and show me some of the pictures that he had taken. And you all, it was such a blessing for me to have my grandson, first of all, want to spend time with me. And it was just, and I wanted to spend time with him as well. It was just a beautiful experience. And so live your life that can happen, or that is the norm and not the exception to the rule, but that is the norm. Okay. It has been so nice visiting with everybody on tonight. I am not sure if first of all, I didn't tell y'all what I was going to talk about. So guess what? I didn't get off course. I didn't get off course. Thank you all so very much for being here and grandstanding with Mother Theresa. I often say, you all, it is such a pleasure to be able to have conversations with you all, and not only just have conversations with you all, but to also read some of the comments that you all are putting in the chats, because when you're putting those comments in the chats, it helps me to be able to guide the conversation, but not only to guide the conversation, but to also see and hear what's on your heart. People are going through a lot, you all, and sometimes, like I said earlier, they just need somebody to listen to them. They just need a listening ear. And why can't that listening ear be you? And sometimes you need somebody to listen to you. And why can't you be able to find somebody that can listen to you all? So I appreciate you all listening to me on tonight. It is well past not well past, but it's past my 30 minutes. I try not to keep you all so long, but sometimes I just get kind of get into it and don't know when to stop. But you all have a great night, everybody. And I enjoyed grandstanding with you all. Hopefully you all will come back and be with me on next week. And hopefully you all will share the lives on your platforms. If you know somebody that needs to hear this word, please share it with them. And I look forward to seeing you all again on next week, everybody. Y'all have a good night. Y'all have a good night. Goodbye, everybody.